Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today, we're going to be tackling something pretty interesting in the world of Excel.
Ooh, exciting. Excel.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't always have the most glamorous reputation.
Right.
But trust me on this, okay?
Okay.
We're going to be looking at Power Query and specifically a function within Power Query called Function.InvokeAfter.
Okay.
And this little function, I think you're going to find, is it can be extremely powerful and can really kind of unlock a whole new level of the data manipulation skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a good place to start would be to kind of lay out exactly what we're dealing with here.
Sure.
We have this excerpt that describes Function.InvokeAfter.
Right.
And basically it says that it returns the result of a function after a specified delay.
Okay.
Now that might sound a little dry, maybe a little on the surface, maybe not all that exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're going to find that it's a lot more interesting than it might initially seem.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, when you think about data manipulation and the way that we work with data, a lot of times we need things to happen in a particular order.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And sometimes you need to be able to control the timing of when things happen.
Right.
And that's really where Function.InvokeAfter can come in handy. It gives you that fine-grained control. It's like, if you're thinking about a complex dance routine or something. Everything has to happen at the right time for it to work properly. Yeah,
like a carefully choreographed dance or maybe even like dominoes. You have to set them all up in just the right way.
Exactly.
And if one of them is off, the whole thing falls apart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how does this function invoke after actually work?
Well, imagine you're pulling data from multiple sources. And, in a real world scenario, you might have one source that's really slow to update. Like maybe you're pulling stock prices from an external API.
Right.
And that API is just notoriously slow.
Yeah.
So you don't want your whole report to just stall out because of that one slow source, right?
Well, absolutely not.
So what you can do with Function.InvokeAfter is you can basically tell Power Query, hey, hold on a second before you run this function. Let that slow API catch up first. And that way you can avoid, errors and make sure that your data pipeline keeps flowing smoothly.
So you're essentially like putting in a pause. You're saying, all right, everything else, chill out for a minute.
Right.
We got to wait for this one thing to catch up.
Exactly.
Okay. But I mean, introducing delays, isn't that kind of like counterintuitive? I mean, wouldn't we always want our data to be processed as quickly as possible?
Well, speed is definitely important. But sometimes, strategic waiting is the key to efficiency and accuracy. It's about making sure that things happen in the right order, even if it means, slowing things down a bit.
Right. Okay. So it's like a trade-off then.
Exactly.
You're trading a little bit of speed for reliability and making sure that everything is accurate.
Exactly.
Okay. I got it. So can you give me like a real world example of how Function.InvokeAfter has been used to solve a real problem?
Sure. I once had to combine data from a live database with a spreadsheet that was updated manually each day.
Okay.
But the spreadsheet was often delayed, which caused the entire data refresh to fail.
Ooh, I've been there.
Yeah. It was a pain. So what I did was I used Function.InvokeAfter to tell Power Query to wait a couple of hours before attempting to access the spreadsheet.
Oh.
And that simple change actually completely eliminated the errors. It made the whole process much more reliable.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this function InvokeAfter, it can be a real lifesaver in certain situations.
Yes.
But I guess like with any powerful tool, there are probably some things that we need to be careful of.
Of course. You have to be careful about setting the delay time correctly because if you set it too short, you might still run into the same errors.
Right.
But if you set it too long, then, your data refresh could become unnecessarily slow.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly.
That balance between speed and accuracy.
Exactly.
Okay, so to kind of wrap things up here, it sounds like Function.InvokeAfter is this really powerful function in Power Query that lets us introduce these strategic delays into our data transformations.
Yes.
And it sounds like it can be a really useful tool for managing complex data pipelines.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're dealing with data sources that might be a little bit slow or unpredictable.
Exactly. And, for anyone out there who's struggling with complex data workflows, remember that knowing about Function.InvokeAfter could really be the key to unlocking new levels of efficiency and accuracy in your work.
It's almost like a secret weapon,
Kind of.
like a secret handshake for Excel power users.
Yeah.
So think about the timing challenges in your own work, and ask yourself, could Function.InvokeAfter be the solution?
That's a great question to ask.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap up this deep dive. But as always, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of data.
See you then.